The birth of a world dominated by giants. Long before any human being imagined their own existence, long before the cities, the modern forests, and even the mountains we know today, Earth was a different, strange, almost unrecognizable planet. More than 230 million years ago, during the Triassic period, all the continents were united in a single colossal landmass called Pangaea, surrounded by a vast and seemingly infinite ocean. The climate was extreme, with arid and desert interior regions, violent storms sweeping across open plains, and volcanoes spewing smoke and lava on a still unstable planet. Life had survived the greatest mass extinction in history at the end of the Permian period, and was now slowly beginning to rebuild. Small, agile reptiles crossed the dry landscape, primitive insects buzzed among hardy plants, and the first archosaurs emerged as promising figures in a world still seeking balance. It was in this hostile and ever-changing landscape that the first dinosaurs appeared. Initially they were small, inconspicuous, often bipedal and agile, competing with other dominant reptile forms. They were not yet the giants we imagine, but they possessed characteristics that would change the course of life on Earth. Upright posture, legs positioned under the body, efficient locomotion, and adaptive resilience to different environments. As the planet slowly transformed, these early dinosaurs found opportunities. When climate change and geological events altered entire ecosystems, many competitors disappeared, but the dinosaurs persisted. And persistence is what led them to dominance. Over millions of years, the Triassic gave way to the Jurassic, and the Earth began to change again. Pangaea began to fragment, the continents slowly drifting apart like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle being separated by time. New seas emerged, the climate became wetter in many regions, and dense forests of conifers, cycads, and giant ferns covered vast stretches of land. The abundance of vegetation fueled the growth of colossal herbivores, long-necked creatures that towered above the landscape like living towers. Predators evolved in response, becoming larger, stronger, and more specialized. The evolutionary race was in full swing. During the Jurassic, dinosaurs reached an extraordinary level of diversity. There were the long-necked giants that walked in herds, shaking the ground with every step, while powerful predators hunted in the shadows of the forests. In the skies, flying reptiles dominated the air currents, and in the seas, giant marine reptiles ruled mysterious depths. Earth was a vibrant planet, filled with primal sounds, the deep call of herbivores, the roar of predators, the constant rustling of vegetation beneath enormous moving bodies. Life flourished on an almost unimaginable scale. Then came the Cretaceous, the last great chapter of the Age of Dinosaurs. The continents were even further separated, forming varied landscapes and distinct ecosystems. The climate in many periods was warm, with high levels of carbon dioxide and shallow seas advancing over continental regions. Flowering plants began to emerge, transforming the ecological dynamics and creating new relationships between species. Pollinating insects evolved, small mammals lived discreetly in the shadow of the giants, and dinosaurs reached their peak in both size and diversity. Formidable predators roamed these lands, while heavily armored herbivores and creatures with impressive horns evolved in response to the constant pressure of survival. It was a world of delicate balance, sustained by natural cycles that had functioned for millions of years. Nothing seemed to indicate that this biological empire, which had withstood climate change, volcanic eruptions, and continental shifts, was about to face an event capable of forever altering the course of life's history. But in the silence of space, far beyond the planet's blue atmosphere, a colossal rock traveled on an inevitable trajectory toward Earth, carrying with it the end of an era that seemed eternal. For millions of years, life on Earth had adapted, evolved, and flourished under the rule of the dinosaurs, but destiny does not announce itself with warning. Approximately 66 million years ago, near the end of the Cretaceous period, a massive asteroid roughly 10 to 12 kilometers wide hurtled through space on a collision course with Earth. It had been traveling silently through the solar system for eons, a remnant from the chaotic formation of planets, until gravity sealed its fate, and ours. When it finally struck, it impacted what is now the Yucatan Peninsula, forming the Chicxulub crater in a moment that would become one of the most catastrophic events in the history of life. The collision released an amount of energy billions of times greater than the atomic bombs detonated in modern history. In a fraction of a second, rock vaporized, oceans displaced, and shockwaves radiated outward at unimaginable speeds. The ground near the impact site liquefied under the force, forests were instantly incinerated, and molten debris was blasted high into the atmosphere. Across continents, earthquakes shook the planet's crust, and towering tsunamis surged through ancient coastlines. But the true devastation was only beginning. As ejecta, superheated fragments of rock, re-entered the atmosphere, they turned the sky into a global furnace. For hours, perhaps days, Temperatures spiked as falling debris ignited widespread wildfires across continents. Entire ecosystems burned. Smoke, ash, and dust filled the atmosphere, forming a dense veil that blocked sunlight from reaching the surface. The world that had once been lush and vibrant was plunged into darkness. Without sunlight, photosynthesis nearly stopped. Plants began to die. Herbivorous dinosaurs, dependent on vast quantities of vegetation, faced starvation. Predators that relied on those herbivores soon followed. The intricate food webs that had sustained life for millions of years began collapsing with terrifying speed. Temperatures dropped as sunlight remained obscured, triggering what scientists describe as an impact winter. Global climates shifted abruptly, becoming colder and harsher in ways many large organisms could not endure. Yet extinction was not instantaneous everywhere. In some regions, life lingered for months, perhaps even years, as ecosystems slowly unraveled. But the balance had been irreversibly broken. Approximately 75% of all species on Earth disappeared during this mass extinction event, including all non-avian dinosaurs. The giants that had dominated forests, plains, and river valleys for over 160 million years vanished from the fossil record. And yet, life did not end. In the shadows of this devastation, small survivors endured. Birds, the direct descendants of certain theropod dinosaurs, carried the lineage forward into a new world. Small mammals, once confined to ecological margins, began to expand into niches left vacant by the fallen giants. Crocodilians persisted in waterways, turtles endured, and countless microorganisms continued their silent resilience beneath soil and sea. Evolution, though scarred, pressed onward. In the aftermath, the Earth was transformed. Forests eventually regrew. Climates stabilized. Continents continued drifting toward their modern positions. Over millions of years, mammals diversified, growing larger, more specialized, more complex. The absence of dinosaur dominance allowed entirely new evolutionary paths to unfold. Primates emerged. Intelligence sharpened. Eventually, a species capable of reflection, imagination, and curiosity would rise. A species that would one day uncover fossils buried in ancient rock and piece together the story of a lost world. The era of the dinosaurs did not simply end, it reshaped the future. Their extinction cleared the path for a new chapter in the history of life, one that ultimately led to us. Every bird in the sky today is a living echo of that ancient reign. Every fossil unearthed is a reminder that Earth is a planet of change, of resilience, and of fragile balance. And perhaps the most humbling realization of all is this: the forces that ended the age of giants still exist in the universe. The story of the dinosaurs is not merely a tale of the past. It is a warning written in stone, a testament to both the power of catastrophe and the persistence of life.